so I just thought about something. This might be a little bit unconventional, but we don't do homework. We started out with homeschooling, and I really liked homeschooling because we could make our own schedules. See the dirty laundry behind me? We could make our own schedule. We got our work done, and when we were done, we were done. And my kids learned stuff, and we had a blast together, and I really think that's what learning should be. It doesn't have to take all day, and I don't have data on this, but in my own understanding, I would imagine that as people went to work, what was it, the industrial age, where they're trying to work from 9 to 5, whatever. Well, naturally, you have to have some sort of childcare system so that people can work that long. And again, in my own understanding, I just have a feeling that they were like, okay, well, we need the kids to be here at least for 6 hours. So what can we put in here? How can we stretch it out? And I personally think that that's just going to get people to a place where they don't know how to relax and have fun. They don't value relationships. Because here's the thing, it's not just 6 hours at school and then you come home and you connect with your family. It's 6 hours at school plus the bus ride. Then you're eating dinner and going to sports, and somewhere in that time, depending on when your sports practice is, you have to get your homework done. So you're literally on task from start to finish most, if not all of your day, unless you're in transport somewhere, where I remember doing my homework on the bus, when I was on my way to sports games and stuff, when I played school sports. So my thing was that when we started sending our kids to school, and we do pray, we prayed, but we pay for our children to be educated. And if we are already sending our kids to school for 6 hours a day, why in the world are they coming home with homework? You really couldn't get that done in the 6 hours that you had? Not a shame on my child. I'm just saying, really, the education system can't figure out how to keep homework at school? I think it's completely backwards. And I am not alone in this. I've talked to other parents about it, and I tell them, we don't do homework. I don't stress about it. I don't make my kids do it. And, I would reconsider it if there was something that, well, I'll just be honest. I had a kiddo several years ago who was struggling with spelling tests. Naturally, because I wasn't helping them with spelling at home, and so the teacher was like, hey, we're not doing well in spelling. And I said, okay, well, what ideas do you have? Because my head is underwater most days. How many kids did we have at the time? I think we had 5 kids, and my oldest was only in 2nd grade. I had a lot of little ones. So I do want my child to be able to participate in spelling quizzes, and I don't want them to feel like their self-esteem to be drained because they're not doing well. But I was like, I know the capacity that I have right now, and I can't accommodate whatever. And so she sent me a message back oh, well, you could do it while you're driving them in the car. And I'm like, I actually can't. I'm spent. I won't. And if you have any other ideas, if you want to keep them after school for a little bit, if you I was like, there's got to be a creative solution. And so And this teacher didn't have kids of her own. She wasn't married at the time. She doesn't have kids of her own. She was younger. Amazing teacher, amazing teacher. And I wasn't mad at her. I just knew she probably couldn't understand where I was coming from. She was just looking at it as an educator, and that's her job. She's supposed to, and that's okay. So no harm, no foul. I just no was my complete answer, and I didn't need to keep explaining myself. And the more that she tried to give me, sorry, that has to do with me, and I can't. I'm paying for a Christian education. Y'all can figure it out if it's important to you. So anyway, the principal ended up stepping in. I didn't call her in. I'm assuming the teacher did, but I don't know. And we figured it out. They figured it out. They figured out something to help him get caught up. And it was what it was. No big deal. So, if my children are struggling with something, I'm not trying to be absent. I'm just like, depending on what capacity I have, which now I have 7 kids, but I have a much different capacity mentally and emotionally than I did even when I had less kids, but I also had more little ones and less one. And, I didn't have older kids that could help take care of the little ones. Not that they babysit, but, anyway, everything was on my shoulders, and that's a little bit different now. So anyway, as far as my kids, and homework and stuff like that, that's up to them. And I do encourage them, hey, you've got a half an hour, because my husband and I, we pick up late from the one school because both schools let out at the same time, but one has a very short pickup window and the other one has a longer pickup window, more flexible. So I said, you guys have 30 minutes, from when people usually get picked up to when you guys get picked up. So you guys can do homework then. We also have a half an hour ride home. You can do homework then, they don't have to do it at home, And then I also, like, if it's important to you, you can do it on the way to school. I don't like last minute stuff, so I don't really promote that. I don't want them scrambling and they should do it the night before. But again, it's not a huge deal to me. And I more so care about their character. I more so care about them being able to disconnect and engage with family, engage with the neighbor kids. We're so blessed. We have this field behind us, and all of our neighbors, even though we don't go to school together, all the neighbor kids are super nice, and want to play soccer with my kids and whatever the thing is, we don't have a trampoline, but somebody else has a trampoline. And yeah, but that's why we don't do homework, because here's how it looks for me long term. And God could change my opinion on this. I'm open to his correction and his wisdom. But as I see it now, long term, if I teach my kids that they need to be on task while they're at school all day, and then they come home and they have more homework, to me that translates as, okay, so we're going to run our business, or we're going to work our job, and then we're going to come home, and then we're going to do more work on our job, But when is family time? When is relaxing time? When is, I know, my kids still have to get, a little bit of chores done in the evening, put their uniform together for the next day, or the girls have to make sure that our dog has food and water. My older boys, they have to unload the dishwasher twice a day. I think those are normal household things, because even when you're an adult and you work a job, you're still going to have to come home and do the dishwasher. You're still going to have to come home and know what you're going to wear for the next day, or fold a little bit of laundry or whatever. But it's not all day, every day, that there's always stuff going on. Because I want to teach them how to be at rest. And, it didn't bother me growing up, going from thing to thing to thing. And I do remember times where I had, maybe I was on Instant Messenger back in the day and I got to talk with some friends, Or, I do remember having, like, especially in the summers and stuff, my mom would get me whatever the cool craft thing was that year. Like one year it was bead animals, and she got me a book, and she got me the ribbon, and she got me the beads, and I would just make these bead animals. So I did have time to be bored and creative and things like that. But most of the time I was playing sports all year round, and I loved it. I did. Like, that was my connection time, was when I was with my friends playing sports. So I was a happy kid, and I was delighted to go to all my sports practices. But I'm just thinking for me and my kids, and how I want that, like, how can I prepare them now, in the rhythms of what they're going to need as adults. And I personally don't think you need to be in school 6 hours a day. But if you are going to be in school 6 hours a day, don't send homework. Come on. Is our educational system that broken? So I've heard people say, like, oh, well, it's to create healthy habits and what, like, I don't know. I don't know about that. At this point in my life, when I'm making this video, I respectfully disagree. But if there's one thing that I do want my kids to be good at, it's family life. It's resolving conflict between siblings. It's learning how to relax and be at rest and not have to be on task all the time, even when people expect you to. So anyway, those are my thoughts on homework as far as when I'm recording it today. And I will say I have a kiddo going into 7th grade right now. And he wants to homeschool next year. He is homeschooling next year. Because he didn't like being away from home all day. He's not a homebody. He doesn't like being bored at home. He loves his friends. He loves playing sports. But he doesn't like being on task all day long. He very much appreciates coming home, getting some time to himself. He's a social kid, but when he recharges, he likes having some quiet headspace. He likes sitting and playing with toys. And, but he's like, Mom, I just want to get my schoolwork done. And then I want to hang out with, whoever's home, which is like one of our little kids, one or two of our little kids. And he's like, and then I'll pick up in the afternoon. I can go play sports. I can go, but I don't have to be doing this stuff all day long, and be exhausted at the end of the day. So that was his choice, and he was wise about it. And like, he brought it up that he wanted to do it, and I'm here to support him in that. And I said, we're going to go, we're going to do it for a year. And if you want to go back to school, you can. You don't have to stay homeschooled. But Liberty University online, they have a really great K-12 program. And we're really excited when we hit high school to do the dual enrollment, because it's 50% off what you would pay for like on-campus classes, in-person classes. And he can graduate with 2 years of college under his belt when he's graduating high school. So it's saving money. It's he's got to finish high school anyway. Why not, as long as it's not like a stressful thing. I don't need him to be any sort of high scholar, whatever, but I want to give him opportunities if he's interested in stuff, if he's doing well in stuff, that he can get ahead. He doesn't have to spend 4 years in college. He can graduate when he's 20 if he wants to. But he did say he wants to do his master's in 4 years. Like, he'll do 2 of it when he's here in high school, and then he'll still do 4 on campus. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where we are with schedules. That's where we are with homework. And we have come across teachers who disagree with us. And that's okay. I think it's important to have a different perspective, and to put it out there. I don't need to shut my mouth and comply. I don't need to shut my mouth and just say I'm going to do it and then not do it. I think it's important to share respectfully where we're at, why we're doing what we're doing or not doing. I think it's great to ask for creative solutions. Hey, where can we meet in the middle if you think this is important? And just go from there. Have that open conversation, and it's okay if they don't understand. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.